Henda Baramini. Okay guys, let me leave it to you guys as the experts. The whole point of this video is to highlight why us as chillers, why we need our weekly dose of podcast and chill. And for this reason, I've made this video and I've highlighted 10 reasons why this is the case. First reason is authenticity. What the Podcast and Chill has done is allow us to go and become free-spirited, following our passion and being authentic about it. People follow people because people are true to themselves and then ultimately true to others. MacG is a proper example of that. He leads the way as far as this goes, and it's key that us as chillers, we understand why we are so drawn to him on a daily basis, regardless of some of the shenanigans, regardless of some of the things that we do or might not agree with, regardless of some of the stunts and some of the belief systems that other people hold towards or against MacG. So lesson number one, be authentic. The second lesson is because he is lifting as he is rising. Currently, he has a ton of people that are employed as a result of the growth of Podcast and Chill. We must remember that him and Len were just seated in a room in front of a phone camera or tablet camera all those years ago, and look at the progress now. People are actually relying on him so that they put some food on the table, right? There are even consultants, and then there are even special shows that have been added in with regards to the Podcast and Chill network, which then brings me to the third lesson. You must learn, adapt, and grow accordingly. If you watch some of the earlier episodes, you'll actually note that MacG was watching a lot of podcasts, all right? Let's not forget how this thing started. It started by means of him being let go from 947, and then whilst awaiting the next round of employment for radio DJs, he then jumped into this avenue of podcasting. But he didn't just jump, you know, with a vague idea of what it's about. He actually went, watched the Joe Budden podcast, he watched the Joe Rogan podcast and a whole number of podcasts. That's how, if you actually trace his steps, you will see the adaptation that he made in relation to the network concept, because Joe Budden was running this Joe Budden network, right, where there are multiple shows under the network. MacG then followed a similar example but brought it home to South Africa. Taking it back again to lesson number one of being authentic. You must be authentic to your crowd, and then other people from other countries, when they follow because they can relate to the fact that you are true to your roots, right? So he learned from these podcasts. He saw what else he can bring forth. He saw what else he can adapt in relation to the South African market, and that's why there are multiple shows that exist now under the podcast. Name them, MacG, for us.
So under the network, we have Podcast and Ride, which is a car show with Nak Music, Noctula, and as well as 𝐌𝐿𝐷. And then we've also just launched City Girls with 𝐷𝐿𝐷 𝐔𝐬𝐞𝐝, and there's other shows in the pipeline that are coming. We've also got Chillers Club, which is for DJs, Black Friday to promote black business, the Hangout to promote upcoming artists. City Girls with 𝐷𝐿𝐷 𝐔𝐬𝐞𝐝. So it's all different shows under one network, and the aim is to grow them and make them, you know, as big as they can be, you know.
Then lesson number four. Lesson number four is that bring people or surround yourself with people that will bring out the best in you. I mean, MacG brought us the Ghost Lady. After several attempts at Ghost Ladies, he brought us Soul Penduka. He brought us Soul Penduka. He basically brought us people whose energy match his own. He brought people that bring synergy around him. He brought people that allowed the podcast to move from where it was and to basically envelope other podcasts and basically outshine other platforms. And by so doing, he allowed himself to go further, right? So bring people around you that will bring that type of growth and synergy and that will worry about not bringing out the best in you. RIP to Blackie, by the way. Then lesson number 5. Be okay with not being understood. After all, it is the crazy ones that change the world. I mean, some of the most impactful people in this world are those that aren't understood, right? When MacG was starting with this podcast, they used to call him a vlogger. You know, they used to diss him. They were like, what the hell is he doing? People were turning his interviews down. He was making an effort, but it wasn't, the vision was not clear to other people. Although MacG himself liked saying that in the beginning, he had no vision, he had no idea of where this was going. But innately, as individuals, we have that idea of what it is we want to build. We have an idea, even though the idea may not necessarily being a way of monetizing what we are doing, but the idea itself is there, right? And the idea may not be understood by other people. As an individual, you may not be understood by other people, but that does not mean that you must give up on an idea just because other people don't see things the way you see them. The way you see them, that's what is going to make you succeed. As long as you work towards it, every day, every week, every month, you put in the work, you are determined, you persevere, you have that tenacity, and then you just move forward. You are more than likely to succeed. And people tend to understand you at the time when you are now leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else, when you are now considered the leader of that particular scene, of that particular sector, of that particular area, right? That's when people actually think about, why didn't I do this when it was beginning? That's why currently there are so many podcasts. And what do? They view you as the leader, MacG. They view you as the leader, MacG. So stay humble, keep growing, we'll continue to support you. Now the next lesson is, when people support you, listen to your people.
I just like to protect my energy, you know. The only comments I read are from YouTube, which is from the chillers, you know, because you know, at the end of the day, I work for the chillers. They are my sponsors, you know. So I have to make sure that they are happy. So I read comments on YouTube, but anywhere else, I really don't participate in that.
And MacG does that often. He likes being called out by his chillers. His chillers, us. He understands that sometimes he will make mistakes, but for us to back him, it's also for him to acknowledge his faults, to listen to us, but also not just listen blindly, but listen understanding the consequences, right? So that whatever decision he makes, because the choice is his, but the consequences he might not have control over, right? But he has done what he has done best because of that listening ear, which takes us back to the lesson where we're talking about learning as you go, advancing and adapting to the situation. That's what MacG is particularly good at from time to time, right? As chillers, we pay memberships, we support, we watch the broadcast as soon as he does it on Mondays. We watch it even when he interviews people. We watch the other shows on the network, right? The ones with MacMusic, the one with Tobejani, the one with the Chillers Club, DJ Coach on Black Friday. We watch all of those other shows. We also watch the show with DJ Jaws. We watch all of those shows because we believe what the network is doing under Podcast and Chill, under MacG's leadership, is going to take them far. And through that, they're going to empower others, which takes me now to lesson number 7, which is empowering others. Which is the slot now, the Friday slot, right? The Black Friday slot. This slot, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from an episode I watched a long time ago, the idea came from Len in one of the Monday shows, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected, chillers, so correct me. I stand to be corrected starters, so correct me, right? I have no problem with that. But I remember that the concept itself came from the heart. It came from a place whereby we needed to empower our own. We needed to empower black businesses. We needed to give them a platform where they trade with each other. They have opportunities and access to the market that they otherwise would not have had. The number of views will obviously not match the main show or the celebrity edition, right? But the impact is there. Ask the hundreds of of entrepreneurs. Ask the hundreds of entrepreneurs that have been interviewed on that Black Friday show, and they'll tell you what I'm telling you, that the impact is there. And furthermore, there's now the chillers market. That chillers market is there to empower, to give people access to markets, to give small businesses a chance and a platform where they trade amongst each other. Because remember, MacG has created a platform that brings us all together. And whilst we're together, why not empower one another? Which is a lesson in itself, right? Bringing people together. So we thank you, MacG, that you created platforms also that bring us together. Platforms such as the brunches, the chillers brunches, the parties, the traveling, like when you guys went to Ghana, also creating competitions where people had the opportunity to go with you. That is excellence beyond, the average imagination. That is excellence beyond the expectations of what society wants from us as young Black people, right? You're doing the right thing, and we commend you for that, because the power of collaboration and lifting the power of collaboration and lifting as we rise is actually key and pivotal to making sure that the podcast continues to succeed. Another lesson: don't change who you are just because the lights, the flashing lights, are now on you. I mean, currently at the time of this recording, there's 472,000 subscribers of the Podcast and Chiil, or MacG's channel overall. 472,000. But he remains adamant that he's not a celebrity. Soul 2, Ghost Lady 2. Well, it would be kind of difficult for Ghost Lady to be a celeb to begin with, because for one, I mean, nobody knows who she is, right? So what type of celebrity is that, right? But remaining humble, not changing your character, not being what the analogy that my grandmother used to use a lot, not being someone who is swayed by the wind, the butterfly. When the wind goes left, you go right? Not someone who develops a big head. Remaining humble and remaining confident in what you are building, knowing that it's your passion that drives you and your need to contribute back to society. Those are the things that drive you, so that you make a difference under the Podcast and Chiil network. So don't change MacG. That's a lesson that we take from you, right? Especially us with smaller channels that also want to have an impact towards the viewers, towards the people that are watching, towards the starters, towards the ninjas, towards, the people that support our craft, right? The people that support our craft. I think it's key that we don't disappoint ourselves and them by changing who we are just because the spotlight is on us. And you've managed to handle that pretty well. And lesson number 10. Own your story. MacG made it okay to give corporate the zap sign. Don't do it intentionally, of course, but to give corporate the zap sign means he made it okay to create a platform where he can grow without necessarily depending on corporate sponsors. Building your clan, building your cult, building a following that's strong enough to believe in you, that they part with their money because they want that value to go beyond just the screen and to go beyond just them watching what you are offering them, right? Beyond what you are offering them, right? And whilst you're here, guys, kindly like, subscribe, share the content if you like it, and then let's see our channel also grow in the process. Because as I've already highlighted, as Black people, we need to build together, we need to support one another, and we need to bring impactful things on this platform, particularly within the country within which we reside, right? Because MacG basically made us understand that through Twitter, you can turn lemons into lemonade. Watch this video breakdown here of why I say that particular statement. Make your moves in such a way that haters tune in and actually stay tuned in. A lot of people were not chillers A lot of people tend to be quick on the Twitter streets, but not understand that once you actually see how genuine the show is, then you are likely to get stuck. So carry on with what you're doing. Don't change a broken formula, right? Don't change a working formula. Change a broken formula. Don't change a working formula. So indeed, turn haters into people that actually may end up loving you. You offered us an opportunity to laugh, to relax, to forget about our own issues, and in some instances, you have actually saved some lives, whilst at the same time empowering us as much as possible. I mean, truth be told, Saul is a genius. Quick on his feet, smart, articulate, and you've shared it. I remember your interview with David Mashabela. You've shared that spectacular view that you have about Saul. You've openly shared how much you love 𝐿𝐿 and how your friendship is what built this podcast to being what it is. So continue to surround yourself with such people, with such energy. Continue to grow, leech off each other, synergize, build, and then share with us accordingly.